Little number I picked up in Wellington at the Benson and Hedges. Dear oh dear, we're not 2 minutes into the show and I've mentioned a tobacco sponsor already. Helen Clark will be cross. Wash my mouth out with soap and water. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I'm not here tonight just to show you how stunning I can look. It is my very considerable pleasure tonight to welcome you to what is bound to be the social event of the year. As many of you are probably aware, the internationally renowned film company, Gamble Putty Productions, are in fact in Arrowtown. They've chosen this area to make their feature film, Rodney the Wasp, which I am told will have the punters making a beeline for the box office. And we are fortunate indeed to have Mr. Gamble Putty's agreement to come along tonight to chat to you. And he's also agreed to bring with him some of the very, very famous stars that are taking part in this movie. Now, if you're half as excited about this as I am, I think we should perhaps get straight on with the proceedings, and I would ask you to put your hands together and give a very warm welcome to Mr. Reuben J. Gamble Putty, ladies and gentlemen. Reuben, I can call you Reuben?
You can.
Welcome to Arrowtown.
There you go.
Can I ask you, first of all, where are you from?
Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio.
Fancy that. Reuben, could you tell the good folk out here why it is that you've chosen this area to make this movie?
Just for its unique character and charm, and all those goddamn sheep.
The sheep indeed. Tell me, Reuben, you have an absolutely astonishing... Please come forward, the people want to see a man of your calibre. You have an absolutely astonishing lineup of stars. Could you name a few of them?
Yes, the top stars, the best in the world. From the screaming Tina Turner, the shapely Marilyn Monroe, those never-ending legs of Jane Fonda, down to the bent Groucho Marx.
Goodness me. Could you tell us, please, what's your movie about, Reuben?
The movie's about fast cars, jet boats, rivers and mountain scenes. And fast women.
Fast women. I believe also that this movie features wasps. And it is not, in fact, the first movie that you have made using insects, Reuben. Is that correct? Could you name one or two of the others?
Born Flea.
Born Flea, really? Indeed. I'm told you're also the man that brought stinging to the screen for the first time. And I believe you made that amazing movie about the insect that flies underwater.
Anthony Moth. Yeah.
Anthony Moth, indeed. And what's more, you have in the pipeline, is it not true, a sequel called Butterfly?
That's
And you also, of course, I believe, did that movie, that wonderful insect movie about the secret agent Des Webb, the intrigue of the spy Des Webb, I think it was called.
That's correct.
Also, I'm told that you have in the pipeline a movie combining insects and politics, the sex life of the young Nats. Is that correct, Reuben?
That's correct.
Reuben, I can't tell you how appreciative these good people are out here of you coming along. We'd like to thank you very much for your time, and perhaps we'll see a little of you later. Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for Mr. Reuben J. Gamble Putty. Now, I can tell you you're barely going to believe this, but we have a lady who is known as the gyrating geriatric, a lady who caused my own grandfather indeed to take a renewed interest in my grandmother. Ladies and gentlemen, please, your hands together for the amazing Tina Turner. Could you tell the good people out here, how is it that you got into singing in the first place?
Well, I started my singing career as a little bitty girl in church singing all those hallelujahs.
Tina, your name, of course, was synonymous with Ike in the 70s. What influence did Ike have on you?
Well, honey, Ike and I were married in the 70s, sure. He introduced me to rhythm and blues, but I've since moved on to rock and roll.
You sure have, and Tina, I simply have to say something about those fantastic wigs.
My wigs, well, I just love the feel of all that hair around my face. It makes me sing better, you know.
I'd love it too, Tina. You toured, I believe, with Jagger.
Jagger? Mick and I are buddies from way back. We have got one main ingredient in common.
Electrical lips. Tina, life in the fast lane with all these high livers must have its pitfalls. I mean, how do you cope with the temptations of things like drugs, for example?
Drugs, Mr. Tremain? You people in Arrowtown can talk about drugs. Well, honey, just this afternoon I walked across the road to the pub over there. I walked in the door, and the first thing I was offered was speed.
That is the sort of willpower that gets people to the top, ladies and gentlemen. Tina, further movies, I mean Mad Max with the amazing Mel Gibson. Tell the good people about that.
Well, honey, my manager is Australian, you know. I like those men from down under. I've just been over there doing a commercial with the rugby league boys. What fun! Anyone in New Zealand want me to do a rugby commercial? I'm available.
This is great news, Tina. Tell me, darling, I can't let you go without a word about those amazing long legs.
My legs, honey, all I can say is that they've had a lot of mileage, and if they were any shorter, they wouldn't reach the floor.
How very true, Tina. You are unbelievable. 50 years old, and you take more handling than two 25-year-olds. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's hear it for Tina Turner. I'm now fortunate enough to present for you a man that goes really right back to the beginnings of film. A man who has become, indeed, a legend in his own lunchtime. Ladies and gentlemen, the unbelievable Groucho Marx. Let's hear it for Groucho. Evening, Groucho. It's simply great to have you along with us. Tell us, did you have a good trip?
I didn't have a bad trip at all. Just flew in a few minutes ago, suffering from jet lag. Went to the local doctor.
Goodness. How did you get on with the doctor, Groucho?
He said, Groucho, I can't find anything wrong with you. Must be the drink.
Never mind, Groucho. You can go back when he's sober, perhaps. Groucho, could you tell the folks out here a little about the amazing movies you've been in?
That's true, a few amazing movies. My favourite, Horse Feathers.
Horse Feathers, none of us will ever forget it, Groucho, but not only that, you have a TV career behind you of some note.
That's true. I had a TV show called What's My Line?
What's Your Line, of course. An author. You are an author, Groucho. Not a lot of people know this, but you have books behind you. Tell us something about your writing.
Yes, I wrote a book, Life of a Mangy Lover.
Life of a Mangy Lover. It's selling well, Groucho.
Oh, very well, yeah.
Now look, you're a talented man, but that's not surprising. You come from such a talented family. Tell us something about the brothers.
3 brothers, Zeppo, Chico, and
Harpo, indeed, who could forget? I mean, there was Harpo, the amazing musician. There was Zippo, the man that patented the non-button fly. Wasn't there also Chico, who had started those nightclubs in the mall? Not to mention Rambo, who made a big name in films after getting off to a rocky start, Groucho. And of course Ringo, who played the drums. Didn't Franco get to the top in the Spanish army? It's amazing. Mrs. Marks said that it was a wonderful sight when they were all young lads to see Groucho, Harpo, Zeppo, Rambo, Franco and Ringo all sitting up in bed drinking Milo and listening to the radio bingo. Is it any wonder they've got to the top in the entertainment business? Groucho, tell us, what do you hope for in the future?
Marilyn Monroe.
You could be lucky, but Groucho, these folks here really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Groucho Marx. Absolutely amazing. He went just before it was my round. However, now I'm going to bring you something I would ask you please not to try and climb on the stage. It won't be easy. I'm going to bring you the big, blonde, beautiful bird born with brains, brilliance, beauty, big bouncing bust and the best bum in the business, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Marilyn Monroe.
Strictly from Tommy, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. And I think of fellas that you must keep on signing up their bets. If little bets get big back yet, time rolls on, and youth is gone, and you can't straighten up when you win. But stiff back or stiff knees, you stand straight and
Diamonds are a girl's best friend, and Marilyn, honey, you are a gem. You are just so famous, you must be recognised everywhere you go.
Oh, no, Garrick, no, I'm not. I can often put on a black wig and an old coat and no makeup, and I get along just fine.
Unbelievable. Marilyn, you haven't, darling, always been a megastar. Tell us a little of your early life.
Well, I started work in a factory during the Second World War, making parachutes.
Did you really? And I'll bet the boys in the Air Force thought of Marilyn Monroe every time they had a jump. Now tell me, Marilyn, was it easy to move from parachutes to movies?
Well, it wasn't at all easy. In fact, when I started, I had very small parts. But as I got more famous, parts have got bigger.
Indeed, Marilyn, I would suggest you've got more famous because your parts have got bigger. What could you tell us about your best part?
Well, some people say my best part was in Some Like It Hot, but I think my best part was in Bus Stop.
Oh. Bus Stop, that's the one they do with silicone, Marilyn, isn't it? Could you tell us, I mean, the movie that gave you some wonderful exposure was The 7-Year Itch.
Oh, The 7-Year Itch. It's filmed at 2 o'clock in the morning in New York, standing over the grate and feeling the breeze from the subway blow up my dress. It was just delicious.
I'm sure none of us, Marilyn, will ever forget you standing over that grate. And as a matter of fact, I believe Paul Newman was told that he could have any part he wanted in that movie, and he said, great. Now, tell us, honey, What was it, of course, that caused your dress to go so high standing on that grave?
Well, Garrick, it was a train going through the subway.
Of course it was, and I know the man that drove that train, and he said if he ever goes back to the USA, the first thing he's going to do is look up Marilyn Monroe again. But enough of that. Tell us a little of the highlights of your life.
Well, Garrick, I've had many highlights, but one of the highlights of my life was singing to the boys in Korea.
Really, I'm sure that the people out here don't think of you as a career girl, Marilyn, but could I now ask you perhaps to share an intimate little secret with the people here? Tell me, what do you wear in bed?
Oh, Chanel No. 5. Can I ask you, what would I find you wearing in bed?
A very big smile, I think. Honey, could you just share one more intimacy with the good people out here? Do you have a love interest at the moment?
Well, no, Garrick, not at the moment, but I'm always interested.
You're always interested, and you're always interesting, Marilyn. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Marilyn Monroe. Now, while all the men go and have a lie down, we have now a man who's noted for driving cars fast and women absolutely crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. James Dean. Welcome, James. It's super of you to have taken your time and come along. Could you just answer a few questions to the folk out here? What part are you playing in this movie?
I play the part of a wasp specialist.
A wasp specialist? How fascinating. Are you enjoying being here?
Yeah, it's great. It's a bit hilly. Not many leaves on the trees, but...
Not many leaves on the trees. You want to try us in the summer, James? Could I ask you, what other movies have you been in?
I've done 3 major movies. East of Eden, Giant, and Rebel Without a Cause.
Of course, we remember them well, and in movies like that, James, you must have worked with some really fantastic names. Could you tell us a few?
I've worked with Rock Hudson, Sal Mineo, Natalie Wood, Elizabeth Taylor.
Goodness me. Do you have a favourite amongst all those?
Yeah, I guess it'd be Elizabeth Taylor.
And why is that?
Well, I reckon anyone who's drunk that much booze and had that many tucks and still keeps going.
He's probably right, ladies and gentlemen, and she must have thought a lot of him. She didn't marry him, and that's not an exception she made for many people. James, you have a reputation for fast cars. What can you tell us about your fast cars?
I like my cars, yeah. I drive a Porsche and won a few races.
I'd imagine a guy of your charm would probably find cars even more interesting than women. After all cars are not automatic, James. But can you tell us something of the women in your life?
I have lots of women, but none of them go as fast as my cars.
I can believe that as well. Tell me, a slightly more intimate question, had you had the choice to be able to choose to be anything in life, what would you have chosen to be other than the megastar that you are?
Well, we've all got more than one choice in life. But I choose to be who I am, rather than a farm boy back in Indiana.
Well, isn't that amazing, ladies and gentlemen? Mind you, I suppose with his taste for expensive cars, you could either be a megastar or a chief executive in a local body. There's not that many choices, but James, the people out here are really thrilled skinny to have had you with us for these few minutes, and we thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear your appreciation. You're going to be able to tell your grandchildren about this. In matter of fact, you may have to if they're sitting behind somebody and they can't see. But we have next, ladies and gentlemen, a man who he is possibly the most amazing figure in the entire film industry and has been for a long time. He is incidentally a man who reminds me very much of the New Zealand cricket team. They've both done unbelievably well with nothing more than one old bowler. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles Chaplin. Good evening, evening, Charles, and thank you for being with us. I would just like to ask you, would you like to tell the people out here what you're doing here? Oh. I see. Perhaps in that case you could tell us what part it is that you're playing in the movie. Oh, a star, of course. I should have known. You've starred, of course, in many movies, Charlie. Could you tell us how many? 66, my word. You must be a lot older than you look. Could I ask you closely, how old are you? Goodness me, I thought so. Now, one of the things I recall about your very early movies was you were accompanied in the first 3 or 4 movies you made by that amazing little dog called, the little dog Spot. Of course, that little dog Spot, he was an amazing animal. You actually taught him to play the piano, and they said that he could play any of the classical masters with equal ease. Mind you, some of the critics said his bark was better than his Beethoven, but never mind. Unfortunately, his film career was cut short through ill health. Could you tell the people out here what he suffered from, Charlie? Tics. Oh dear. Charles, you're a man who has produced, as well as a number of amazing films, quite a lot of children. Could you tell the folks out here how many kids you have in fact produced? 8. My word, that is remarkable. Can you tell me, how does a man feel having fathered 8 children? Tired. Of course, it must have been a good year. I also, on the grapevine, have heard that you had a very soft spot for the amazing, the beautiful blonde bombshell Marlene Dietrich, and you had one desire to sire just one more child from Marlene. Could you tell the folks out here the answer you got when you put the proposition to them? 9. Oh, Charlie, tough luck. Tough luck. The people here really appreciate this. It's a highlight, certainly, of the decade in Arrowtown, I would think. Thank you for being with us, and ladies and gentlemen, please, a big thank you to Charlie Chaplin. I'm sure you've all heard of the next lady. Her name is, like Vim, Harpic and Toilet Duck, a household word. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a big welcome for Miss Betty Davis.
Very warm in this part of the world, is it? In fact, it's goddamn cold.
Betty, I'm sorry, but there's a big warm welcome out here from the Arrowtown people. That's the best we can do at the moment. Could you tell the folk out here a little, perhaps, of your husbands?
My God, you people want to know everything, don't you? Aren't you going to ask about my pictures? I've made 100 of them, you know. My husband's. Well, Ham was the first. Ham Nelson. He suited the Ham, but not the Nelson. He was no hero.
There was, of course, then, Beck, there was Arthur Farnsborough, who tragically died shortly after your marriage, and he was followed, I think, by your third husband, W. Grant Sherry, correct?
That's right. He was a louse. I married him because he looked good in a pair of shorts. And if you think you're looking at a fool, I've got little news for you. You are.
Could you tell us, perhaps, Miss Davis, why it is that you've had so much trouble having good relationships with your husband?
See. Not one of them could bear being called Mr. Davis.
Could we, in that case, perhaps talk a little about your movies? I mean, Of Human Bondage was renowned to be your very best part.
Yes, it was. I had quite a job getting the studio to let me make that part. They said I wouldn't be believed as a Cockney waitress. But I was believed, all right. I was disgustingly good. I looked a fright. My hair. I wouldn't let them take me within 100 miles of a beauty parlour. And I played that slut Mildred to perfection.
We all know you did, Miss Davis, but the critics at the same time claim that All About Eve was perhaps the greatest film that you played.
I was fortunate 40 when I made that film. The same age as Margot Channing, that great goddamn ham that I played. And I felt every word when she told her lover, I hate men. She hated them because they stayed good forever. When I turned 40, I screamed every time I saw a mirror.
This is really most interesting. Could you tell us now perhaps a little about Rodney the Wasp?
Well, it's a horror film. A little bit like Baby Jane. Only in this film, I give Jane Fonda a dinner of dead wasps instead of a dead rat on her breakfast tray.
Miss Davis, I have to ask you probably a slightly more intimate question. You are notorious for being very difficult to get along with on the set. Do you have any sort of answer to that?
I'm not at all difficult. As long as I'm treated like a star, and I get all my own way, I'm really quite nice.
And it doesn't seem much to ask, does it, ladies and gentlemen? Let's hear it for Miss Betty Davis. Thank you, Betty. There's a lady about to appear on the stage who is constantly being asked to join the Amalgamated Metal Workers Union for the simple fact that she is even fitter than Turner. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Miss Jane Fonda.
Hey everybody, how you doing? You ready for a workout? Right, let's do a warm-up then. Stand with your feet a little more like hips apart, buttocks tight, stomach pulled in, put on out your torso, and head to the right, back, left, forward, and right, back, left, on, forward, shoulder length. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Thank you, Jane.
Big breath.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a wonderful opportunity. You don't even have to buy the video. Now, come on, what's wrong with you? Up on the seats. Let's get into this. That's the stuff. Oh, come on, folks. Come on, we can all do with a little of this. But while we're doing it, Jane, I just wonder if I could ask you 1 or 2 questions. I mean, how do you like being here?
Flat back, straight legs,
Jane, perhaps I could ask you a little about your family. I mean, you come from a very famous family. I believe your parents' marriage got off to a rocky start, but after a few months they got a little fonder, and apparently, could I just ask you, Jane, have you worked with your father of late?
Daddy and me were in a movie together recently. Something about a pond.
On Golden Pond or something, I think it was, Jane, yes. Jane, I see you've been married twice. Could you perhaps tell us a little bit about your husband? Roger McDean?
He was a real romantic, a little too romantic in fact, a French film director. Tom Hayden.
Tom Hayden, of course. Who could ever forget Tom Hayden? Jane, perhaps if I can catch my breath back, could you tell me how did you ever get into this fitness thing?
Step it up. Well, I've got an expensive wardrobe full of small leotards, so I had to do something to make them fit.
Isn't she unbelievable? I'll tell you what, Jane, it's been a bad year in Arrowtown for oysters, but if you stick around, it's going to be a great season for mussels. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get Jane Fonda. Thank you. I wouldn't cope with this at all if it wasn't for the volume. Ladies and gentlemen, the next young lady that I'm going to bring on is in fact the darling of every... I'm sorry, that I'm going to introduce. Is in fact the darling of every man, woman and child molester in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Miss Shirley Temple. Hello, Shirley. It's just lovely to see you.
Thank you very much.
I just want to ask some nice people out here want to know some things about you, and could I ask you how old you are?
Well, although I'm very, very famous and extremely rich, and also amazingly intellectual and very, very witty, I'm only 6.
Only 6? You mightn't think that's much, Shirley, but it's a lot on the Richter scale. And I'll tell you what, there's some little 6-year-old boys back there in row 8, and they're all a twitch about you.
Would you like to look me up after the show?
I'm sure they would. Sweetheart, could you just tell us, what part are you playing in this movie?
Well, Robin the Wasp is a very wonderful movie, and I play a little girl in the movie. And Mr. Gambleputty, the director, is a wonderful man. He's very, very kind.
He is, sweetheart. We had him out here before, and he's a very nice man. Could you tell me, do you sing in this movie?
Well, in Robin the Wasp, I do a lot of high-pitched screaming, but I do usually sing in my movies. Would you like me to sing you a song?
Oh, look, we would just
Sing you a song?
love you to sing a song. Would you really sing a song for us?
I will sing you a song. If you hold my hand, Mr. Tremain, you hold my lollipop.
It's moments like these I wish you had minties.
Okay, I'll sing you a song.
Sing a song for us, Shirley.
On the good ship, lollipop, it's a sweet trip to the candy shop where bonbons play. On the sunny beach of Peppermint Bay, lemonade stands everywhere, crackerjack bands fill the air, and there you are, happy landings on a peppermint bar.
Sweetheart, that was just wonderful, and I'd like to thank you very...
Would you like me to sing you another song?
Well, perhaps Aileen could sing us another song.
I think I'd like to sing another song right now, Mr. Tremain.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we should ask Miss Temple to sing another song right now.
Thank you very much. Animal crackers in my soup, monkeys and rabbits loop-the-loop. Gosh, oh gee, but I have fun swallowing animals one by one. In every bowl of soup I see lions and tigers watching me. I make them jump right through a hoop. Animal crackers in my soup. When I get hold of the big bad wolf, I just push him under to drown. And I bite him in bits and I topple him right down. Oh, when they're inside me where it's dark, I'll walk around like Noah's Ark. I stuff my tummy like a goop. Animal crackers in my soup.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was it.
Another song?
No, not at all. But that song was even better at rehearsals. I tell you, she had her hair curlers in. Shirley, darling, it's been super of you. We'll see a little more of you shortly, and thank you ever so much for being with us. She should have done Stuck on You. Don't you just love it when she goes, she just goes. It's really great. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an unbelievable lineup, and right now, as a special treat, I would like to ask all those famous stars that you've just seen to perhaps come out all together onto the stage. Folk, famous folk, could you please come out now? And not only the stars, but also the man that made all this possible, Mr. Reuben J. Gamble Hookie as well. Ladies and
Everybody!
What a ham!
Arrowtown Hall. Okay, look, leave it with us.
Wellington CIB?
Wellington CIB? Jensen here, Queenstown Police. We've got a murder here in Arrowtown, at Arrowtown Hall.
Okay, so leave it with us, eh?
In the hall.
Hey, boy, it's the Wellington CIB, eh? I'll spell that for you. C-I-B. Hey, some fella's been killed in Arrowtown, eh?
Okay, leave it with us.
Scotland Yard.
Scotland Yard. There's been a murder in Arrowtown, New Zealand, at the Arrowtown Town Hall.
Okay, leave it with us.
Constabulary, Detective Superintendent Smallcross speaking.
Smallcross, get off your bum. There's been a murder in Arrowtown, New Zealand.
New Zealand? Right you are, sir. Let me see now. They're 12 hours behind us. So if we leave now, we should be there at the same time as we leave, sir. Closely, you're on your back. Nobody is to leave this room. If anybody wants to go to the lavatory, will they please raise their hand and give your name to Constable Closely and your address. Sir, I'd like to just ask you, sir, this is an unfortunate situation.
Very sad.
Were all these people present when this gentleman was bananaed in the back?
Yes, I think that was the lady in the fourth row with the legs crossed. Certainly been here all night.
I see. Take note closely. Mr. Your name, sir?
Tremain, Garrick Tremain.
Mr. Tremain, closely. Mr. Tremain, the gentleman who's been bananaed, sir, what was his name?
His name was Mr. Reuben J. Gamble Potty.
Reuben J. Gamble Potty. Take note. Right, could you just tell me the circumstances surrounding his demise, sir?
Well, there's been a number of very famous film stars and people here tonight, and I've been interviewing them one by one, and I decided just to get them all back onto the stage together so the people here could show their appreciation. And as they came onto the stage, the last one on, in fact, was Mr. Gamble Potty, and I saw him sort of stagger a bit, and I thought perhaps he was unwell, and then I thought, oh, well, I don't know, is this cricket? Could Mr. Gamble Plumley just be a funny walker, sir?
Make a note. So, these film stars you tell me about, these people, where are they at the moment?
Well, they're in the dressing room, I think, sir.
And the dressing room?
Out the back here, off stage.
I see. Did Mr. Gamble Putty say anything when he was demised, sir?
No, not a word, sir.
I see. Did he do anything before he demised himself?
As a matter of fact, he did write some graffiti on the wall here, sir.
I see. Just a moment. This is the pen. Can you just make a note of that, please? Ghostly. Right, sir. These film stars, I think I might talk to those people. Would you mind just taking a seat? I might call you in a moment. Or just before you go, sir. Who was the first person there? Were they all at the same time on the stage? Or
No, they were interviewed in order, sir, and the first one was, in fact, the deceased Mr. Gamble Putty.
I can't interview him, can I? Who was the next person?
Miss Tina Turner was the next one, sir.
Tina Turner. I think we'll do it in the same order they came on.
It could be appropriate, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Gasmain. Can you just... They call Mrs. what did he say her name was? Turner. Call Mrs. Turner, will you, please?
Calling Mrs. Turner.
Mrs. She just dropped something. Mrs. Turner, you just dropped a wheat bix card. Have you got that? Back now. You've got that one closely.
Thank you, Inspector. I collect them.
Wonderful. Mrs. Turbine, can I just ask you a few questions in relationship to the demise of your employer, I believe it is. Could you just switch that off, please? Switch that off, please. Miss Turtle, the employer of yours was Mr. Gamble Putty, I believe, is
That
that?
is correct, Inspector.
I see. It was a terrible business. I'm sure you're very upset. What part did you have in this film, Mrs.
Turner.
Turner, sorry.
Well, my part was a joke, honey. He flew me halfway across the world to star in this goddamn movie about what? I get killed off in the first 20 minutes singing, I'm the good checkbook lollipop. I ask you.
She asks us. 20 minutes. What did you think of Mr. Gamble Putty personally?
He was a turkey.
Turkey. I see.
I couldn't stand the man, honey. We fought a lot. In fact, I was telling Marilyn back there before about this almighty row we had over my contract. The man just wouldn't pay me enough money, honey.
You're underpaid?
Underpaid.
Yes, Miss Turner, when you were in the dressing room over there this evening, do you recall anything that was unusual that might help us with our inquiries into this matter?
Inspector Schubeck, nothing usual ever happens with movie stars. Didn't you know that, honey?
Nothing unusual happened. Mrs. Just between you and I, who do you think might have done this terrible thing this evening? Have you any idea?
It had to be that cold old Jimmy Dean.
Jimmy Dean. Jimmy Dean closely. Right. Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Don't go too far. I might recall you in a moment. Thank you. Right. I think it was Jimmy Dean. She didn't like him closely. She was killed in 20 minutes. My goodness me. And he was a turkey. Could you tell me who's the next?
Superintendent, I couldn't help overhearing you asking Miss Turner. I have just remembered something unusual about tonight, sir. We've got a full house, sir.
I see. Thank you. Who was the next person?
The next one was Mr. Groucho Marx.
Groucho Marx, but not so closely. Would you call Mr. Groucho Marx, please, closely?
Calling Groucho Marx.
Mr. Marx. Good evening. I'm just making inquiries. My name is Small Crust. Making some inquiries into the demise of your employer. Could you tell me, sir, what was your part in this film that you were making?
I was a wasp keeper.
He was a wasp keeper. Mr. Marx, what did you think of your employer? Could you tell me?
He was a bum.
He was a bum. Could you tell me, sir, when you were in the dressing room, did anything unusual strike you that might help us with maybe an unusual occurrence?
The lights went out.
The lights went out. The lights went out.
The lights went out.
I see. The lights went out. And then just excuse me a moment, sir. Excuse me, sir. Did the lights go out in this room at all?
Oh, very briefly, I did, sir. I thought it was just a brief power failure. I wasn't at all worried.
You weren't worried, I see. Thank you. Right. Lights went closely, not so closely. Mr. Hart. Just between you and I, who do you think might have done this terrible thing?
Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin, closely. Thank you, Mr. Marx. That would be all for the moment. Thank you. Closely. Thank you, sir. Steady. Right. The lights went out closely. Oh, well. You local, sir?
I am, sir.
You're local. Do you think there's anybody in here in this audience might have a motive?
Oh, I can't think of a locomotive, sir.
Thank you, Mr. My Train. Oh, no. Mr. My Train, sorry. Who was the next person to come onto this stage?
Oh, Miss Marilyn Monroe.
Miss Marilyn Monroe. Is she?
Yes.
Marilyn Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe, sir.
Never heard of her. Closely. call Mrs. Munro, thank you.
Right, Mrs. Munro.
Mrs. Munro, I'm just going to ask you some questions about this. Are you all right, Miss? You're all right. Would you like a handkerchief? Of course, they give me a handkerchief. But here, oh no. I'd just like to ask you, this gentleman, Mr. Gamble, Butty, he was your employer, I understand. Is that correct? I see. And what did you think of your employer, Mr. Gamble, Butty?
I didn't like him very much. He was always angry at me for forgetting my words. I forget them quite a lot, you know. He was always used to yell at me.
Make a note of that, will you, closely? Just put it down closely. Put it down. Could you tell me, are you all right? No, it's quite demised itself. Just a little dress, yes. You're all right. Miss Munro, I'd just like to... Munro, sorry. What was this film that you were in with your employer? What was your part in that film? Can you just describe it?
Well, it was a very small part. I was flying around in a helicopter, and the rotors got caught in small wasps, and I died. 20 minutes. That's all it was, 20 minutes.
20 minutes in the film. Everybody seems to be in for 20 minutes close. Yeah, no. When you were in the room or the dressing room, did anything unusual happen that might strike us as sort of helping us with our inquiries?
Well, the lights went out.
We noted that, yes. Anything else? Nothing unusual?
Well, I had a little argument with Shirley Temple. She stole my eyelash curlers. And you know how important my eyelash curlers are to me. I couldn't find them.
I can imagine. Yes, just one other question. Have you any suspicions yourself as to who might have caused this terrible crime?
Well, she's only 6. But I think it was Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple. Thank you very much, Mrs. Munro. Just wait in the room when you don't go too far away. I don't know, closely. This film isn't much of a film, is it? It's all dying off in 20 minutes. Excuse me. Who was the next person to...
The next person was Mr. James Dean, sir.
Mr. James Dean. Just ring me over there, Mr. Tremain. Tremain, really close. Oh, James Dean. James Dean.
Good morning, James Dean. James Dean.
Mr. Dean. Good evening, sir. My name is Smallcrust. This is my constable, Closely. Just excuse me a second, please. Thank you. Thank you. Just hold that one in close. Just dispose of that when you close. Mr. Dean, I'm sorry to keep you. Yes, you were working on this film with Mr. Gamble Putty, that's correct, is it not, sir?
Yeah, that's right.
I see. Could you just describe to me your part in this film, please?
I had a 20-minute part as a wasp specialist.
As a wasp specialist. Wasp. Yes. Mr. Dean, what did you think of your employer on a personal level?
The guy's an idiot.
The guy's an idiot. Yes. Yes. When you were in the waiting room, the dressing room, did anything strike you as unusual that might help us, sir?
No. Well, hang on. Two of them came in like the old lady and the fitness freak.
The old lady and the fitness freak came into the dressing room. You don't recall their names, do you, sir?
It's that lady Fit Davis and Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda, the big young lady, and the fitness freak is Betty Davis. Just if you were a betting man, let's say, who do you think might have done this terrible thing, sir?
Everyone here knows it. It was Tina Turner.
Tina Turner. Weird. It's weird closely. Weird. Thank you very much, sir. Don't go too far away. No. A man of few words, isn't he? Mr. Who was the next person to come up onto the stage?
The next one was, Miss Betty Davis, I think so.
Miss Betty Davis. Would you call Miss Betty Davis, please, closely?
I'm sorry, sir.
Just a moment, closely.
It was Mr. Charlie Chaplin.
Mr. Charlie Chaplin. That's it. Would you kindly get your facts right before you come to me? Learn the script. Closely, not so closely. Just call you just said. Charlie Chaplin. Mr. Chaplin. Good evening, sir. I'd just like to ask you a few questions regarding the unfortunate circumstances about this. Closely, that's a very good question. This is a very good drawing, closely. It's a good likeness. Yes. Nose is a bit long, yes, but you should have been an artist. Just come here a second, sir. Yes. This work, this film you've been involved with Mr. Gamble Putty. You see. Could you tell me, sir, what was your part in it? Oh, did you get that closely? Do it properly, closely. What did you think of this, Mr. Gamble Putty? It's a bogey. Mr. Glen, when you were in the other room there, could you tell me, did anything strike you as unusual that might help us? Something out of the ordinary, perhaps? Take your time, sir. You put your sunglasses on. Oh, the lights went out. The lights went. Oh, you've got a daughter out, Mr. Yes. Who do you think might have done this terrible thing, sir? Just a moment, sir. Get out your marks, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I won't keep you just at the moment. Don't go too far away. I might recall you. Thank you. Really was a man of few words, wasn't he, close? Excuse me, sir. Who's the next person that came onto this stage?
Oh, well, according to the script, sir, Sammy's mother, Miss Davis, sir.
Sammy's mother. Call Sammy's mother.
Sammy's mother.
What did you say the name was, sir?
Betty Davis.
Ah, Betty Davis. Who's Sammy? Ah, Miss Davis, good evening. Small crust. This is Constable Closely. You got a light? Closely, you got a light. No, I don't need it. Okay, Miss Davis, I'd just like to ask you a few questions regarding your employer's untimely demise, if you don't mind. Could you tell me what part you have in this film?
I have a damn small part. He kept whittling it away to give more lines to Jane Fonda. And I'm the star. I'm the one people come to see.
I see. Yes, and Miss, what did you think of this, Mr. Gamble Putter?
He was a goddamn son of a... I didn't like him.
You didn't like him?
He killed Frederick, you know.
Kill Frederick. Kill Frederick? Who's Frederick, Mrs.
My goldfish.
Your goldfish.
He
Kill
ran
Frederick.
over him. He had been lying squashed flat in the middle of the road. It was a case of hit and run.
You ran over your goldfish.
That's right.
Hit and run. Where was this goldfish going to, Mrs.
It wasn't going, it was coming.
Where was it coming from then, Mrs.
Well, it was coming from Joan Fonda's. I'd sent him over there to make with her bureau.
A stud goldfish. I should imagine that's a very expensive goldfish, isn't it? Did Mr. Gamble Putter, did he offer you any recompense for this terrible thing?
Can you get blood out of a stone?
Of course not. No, closely, no blood out of no stone. No, Miss Pratt, Miss Pratt. Did you notice anything that was unusual in the dressing room this evening?
I don't take very much notice of the trivial things that go on in the dressing room. The lights did go out.
The lights went out. We made a note of that. Yes. The lights went out. Right. And just between you and I, Mrs. What's her name? Who do you think might have done this terrible thing?
I really haven't thought much about it. Jane Fonda could have done it. She's got a nasty streak in her sometimes.
Jane Fonda, closely. Thank you, Mrs. Don't go too far away, I might be calling you, thank you. This goldfish. Goldfish, this is getting complicated. Goldfish being run over. Mating. Blood out of a stone. Mr. Could you just tell me who is inexperienced?
I could, sir, but it might help your inquiry. I couldn't help noticing when you were looking at the outline of Mr. Gamble Putter here, sir, you mentioned that his nose was too long. I think you were misreading it, sir. He was lying around the other way. But actually, Detective Superintendent, the next person was the only one, in my opinion, who was fit to be here, sir. That was Jane Fonda.
Jane Fonda, right? You called Jane Fonda closely.
Jane Fonda.
Miss Fondle, I'd just like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind, regarding your employer. Yes. What part did you have in this film? Could you tell me?
Well, it was a very small part. I played Davis's older sister. She didn't like that very much. I had more lines than she did. I don't think she liked me being there.
I see. Could you tell me, Mr. Fondle, can you tell me, what did you think of Mr. Gamble Putter himself? A jerk. Get that closely, a jerk. Mrs. Fondle, could you tell me that when you were in the waiting room just now, Did anything unusual happen that might help us with our inquiry?
Well, Inspector, there was nothing. I saw Tina Turner passing something to Charlie Chaplin.
Did you see what it was?
I didn't, and no one else said they saw it either. I was talking to Groucho and we went, you didn't see it.
Make a note of that closely. Miss Bondle, can you tell me what's in your opinion, if anybody out of your company might have done this? Who might it have been?
I could say almost certainly that it was Bette Davis.
Bette Davis. Well, thank you, Miss Bondle. It's been a pleasure. Don't go too far away. I might just call you in the morning. Thank you. Closely. Let me up closely.
You, Super.
Oh, thank you, wonderful.
Is that the famous Inspector Smallcrest? It's Grenville here from Arrowtown stores. I wonder if you can help us. We were broken into and all my cash specials are taken, plus the bloody table. Apparently there was a witness, and the police are now looking for a man with one eye who was seen leaving my store. Can you give me some advice, please?
The police are looking for a man with one eye, Constable. I suggest they use both eyes, Mr. Garrick. Don't waste my time. Please, no calls. We don't have sex. It's a serious business. Mr. Who is the next person to come on, please?
As it happens, sir, I do know a man with one eye called Cedric, sir, but I have no idea what the other eye's called. The next one was a lovely young lady, Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple. You keep throwing these jokes in, don't you? Call Shirley Temple, will you, please, for the closely. Oh,
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple. How did you like? Miss Temple. My name is Small Crust. This is
Crust?
Small Crust. Small Crust.
Oh, Crust. Oh.
This is Constable Closely.
Oh, Constable Closely.
Just little girl, I'd just like to ask you a few questions if you don't mind. Mr. Campbell Putty, very unfortunate. Yes, it must be very trying for you.
Yes, I'm very upset about it.
Yes, I can imagine. Miss Temple, you were in a film, I believe, with Mr.
Rodney the Wasp, yes. That was a terrible movie. Mother and I are very disappointed about it. And Mr. Gamble Putty is a horrible man.
Horrible man.
He treated me very badly indeed.
I see. Horrible man. Closely, not so closely. Treated her very badly indeed. Mother didn't like him. Miss Temple, just a few other questions for you. But when you were in this dressing room over here, did you come across or think of anything or see anything that might help us? Maybe something unusual?
Well, nothing really unusual happened except that Marilyn Monroe accused me of taking her eyelash curls, and I don't even have any eyelashes.
Of course not.
I didn't have them. She looked all through my bag, and there was nothing in my bag but lollipops.
Just lollipops, right. Yes. Miss Temple.
Yes?
Did you play games?
Oh, yes, I love to play games.
Like games. Did you ever play a game called Cluedo?
Cluedo, yes, I love to play Cluedo.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
You just imagine you're playing Cluedo now, and
Okay.
it's a murder, right?
Yes.
And then there's all these people you're playing them with, right?
Yeah.
And let's just give them names for argument's sake. Let's say the people in the dressing room that were with you tonight.
Okay, that's
Right. Who do you think would win?
Oh, yeah. It was definitely Marilyn Monroe because she's the biggest. Well, Mr. Oakrust, she has the biggest motive.
Biggest motives.
Yes.
That's it. Well, thank you, little girl. I won't keep you in.
I'd like you to sing you a song.
No, thank you. No. Go back to your room, please, and just wait for me. Thank you. Was there anybody else, sir?
That's all, sir.
That's all. Dear me, closely. Right. I think we're getting a bit involved. I think we call them all on. What do you think? Right, call everybody back, will you please? Just sort something out here.
Everybody back.
Could you come back in here, please, quickly? This is a police matter. Could you come? Just come back here, please. Everybody here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd just like to clear up a few things that I've got some statements down here. Right. There's a business of this light, the light going out. Could you tell me the circumstances? What maybe if were you all here?
You mean when the light went out?
I believe the light went out. Yes.
Well, when the light went out, I was on stage being interviewed.
You were on the stage. Did everybody notice the light going out when this little girl was on the stage?
I was.
You did, I see. Thank you. Was everybody else in the room then, in the dressing room? Were you all seated, were you?
No, they were out, they came in late. So,
When the light went out?
The light went out. Jimmy was hanging my coat up.
Yeah. You were standing up where Mr. Dean, isn't it? Right, closely. Right. Oh, very well. Just one other thing. You know that the gentleman was banana to death, don't you? Yeah. Very nasty. Probably a banana from Ecuador with it. Did anybody have a banana in the dressing room tonight?
Jimmy did.
Mister, you had a banana, did you? What did you do with the bananas?
Ate it.
Did everybody see Mr.
Was the only banana that was there.
You saw him eat? Thank you very much. Just go back to your... Thank you. Thank you. I just wait. Goldfish. Your jury calls naughty. And this man, Mr. Gamble, but he didn't either. And look, what, you see, he didn't get just the words mixed up. He got the letters mixed up, you see. See that one, see? See there, and see where, look at that one. There it goes. There. And there's an R. There. And there's an L, and there's a Y, and there's a T there, you see. And there's an E there, right, and there's an N there, you see. And there's a P there, and there's an L there, and there's the E there, and that is that. Kill that close there. The question remains, how? Do you see? I think we should go maybe a little bit back in time to find the answer to that closely. Due to this modern technology, we can do it. So, let's go back to the dressing room. You see what happened. Follow me closely. That this is gentle craning. Yeah, this is Turnip going out to go onto the stage, you see, when she was being interviewed, you remember? And then these two ladies came in, you see, because they were there, they've been to the hairdressers. Right, just a moment, closely. See, just stay there, closely. This lady here, you see, this is Mrs. Davis. She came to look at the hair, you see, in the mirror. And Mrs. Fondle, and when Mrs. Davis was over there, what happened next? Well, I'll just do this a moment. Just go like this up. I'll show you something closely. Just watch these closely. You see there, these little black armbands, you see? Do you remember the goldfish? Do you remember the goldfish? They haven't been to the hairdressers, they've been to a bloody funeral. And I knew closely there's something about this, that maybe the whole story about this goldfish was just a red herring. closely. Come here, closely. But let's just see what happens next. And Mr. Marks went out, remember? Because after his interview, and Mrs. Turner came back and down. There they are, there's Mrs. Just stand over there closely and just watch. Mrs. Munro, she's lost to Irish cows, you see. Remember she said that, it was in the statement. She couldn't find them, closely, she couldn't find them, so forget about that, and off she goes for her interview, you see. Then Mr. Marks, you see, he came back briefly. And Mr. Dean, now watch this closely. Watch it closely. Go. He goes over there, and look at this closely. Right. Look, he's eating his dime. Everybody thought he was eating a banana, you see. But he was eating his dime and put the only banana in the room down the front of his trousers, you see. Which would only enhance his reputation with the ladies. Now let's just get you this, it's exciting now, isn't it? He's in his tie, he goes out for his interview, you see, Mrs. Munro comes in. She takes a seat. And Mr. Children here has his lunch. He eats his lunch. And he goes off with his interview. While Mr. Dean comes back. And Mrs. Oh, what? Is that a cigarette? What is the end of the cigarette rolled up closely? See? And it's a smoking here. I don't think Mrs. Fondle would enjoy that. And Mrs. goes off as Mr. Chaplin comes in. Takes his seat backwards. And then, as he does so, watch this closely. Look closely. Weet-Bix card. They've been collecting Weet-Bix cards secretly, you see. Knew that was nothing to bother about. Let's continue. And Miss Miller goes off, you see. Miss Dean. She takes her seat. And Miss Munro goes off. This is where the argument is with the eyelash girl, as you see closely. Now watch this. It's very clever. You see, there's only lovely box, you see. She thought the eyelash curlers were in this bag, you see. But it wasn't in the bag. And neither was a banana, you see, closely. That sort of establishes Mrs. Temple's innocence, you see. And then Mrs. Temple goes on. And Miss Fonda comes back. Now this is the interesting bit, you see, closely. Here's Mr. Dean, quite uncharacteristically, asks for Mrs. What's-her-name's coat, brings it over to here, hangs it up, and the lights went out because he turned them off at the power box. He comes over here, puts the banana in the bag, goes all the way back over to the coat hanger, turns the lights back on, and goes and takes his seat. And that's how he planted the banana. Miss Temple comes back, takes her seat, and of course this banana is already planted in her bag. And that's when they all went off with their curtain call, you see. So they all stood up, And away they went. Right. Isn't it exciting? Now watch this closely. Watch this. Watch this. Miss Temple then waits behind while Mr. Gamble Putty is doing his budgets. See, she takes the banana out of her bag and she plunges the deadly weapon into his back. And look at him squirming. Oh, it's a terrible death. Oh, close. I can't bear to watch. I can't bear it. And Mr. Gamble Putty goes off, you see, followed by Miss Temple, and that, closely, is how it was done. Right. Call Miss Shirley Temple closely. Miss Shirley Temple, I'm arresting you for the murder of Mr. Reuben J. Gamble Putty this evening. Anything you say might be taken down and used in evidence against you.
I'm only 6.
You won't be out of jail until you're at least 7. Now then, where's Mr. Dean? Oh, Mr. Dean. Mr. Dean? Mr. Dean, I'm arresting you as an accomplice to murder, sir. Anything you say may be used and taken down and all that sort of stuff against you. Right. Okay, closely. Closely, just take them. Deal with that closely. You don't think we'd have left a loaded banana around, do you? Take them away closely. Come on, take them away. Come. Right, can we have a curtain here, please? Just keep right. Oh. Thank you. There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have indeed got to the bottom of this dastardly web of intrigue. Thank you very much for your assistance, and those of you who were fortunate or clever enough to have picked the culprit are now going into a draw. And I would ask, please, for somebody to bring forward all the tickets so that we can conduct a draw. Oh, goodness me, it's Mary the milkmaid. Tell her, where's your hen? Wasn't it you that in the nursery rhyme we used to say, Mary had a little hen, she kept it in a bucket. Every time she let it out, the rooster used to chase it, or something like that. Anyway, never mind, Mary. I think now we shall conduct the draw, and I'd like to ask the stars of the show to conduct the draw. I feel as a measure of gratitude, it would be only right to ask Detective Superintendent Smallcrutch to draw the winning ticket. But those who followed his career closely say he can't even draw a straight line, so I will instead, I think, ask the lovely Tina Turner. Tina, please. Played by Wendy Bradford. What have we got, Tina?
Dorothy Lockheed.
Dorothy Lockheed, would you come up, please? Please don't be shy, the bananas are not loaded. Where are you? We have here a prize donated by the country trader Crown Terrace, a prize of a Polish crystal decanter. Dorothy, would you come up, please? Tina will present you with the prize. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Next we have Marilyn Monroe, please, played, of course, so brilliantly by Kristen Guthrie. Kristen, would you draw a ticket, please, from Who have we got? Bridget Chaffee. Bridget Chappie, could you come up please and accept your prize, which is kindly donated by the Elvine Food Centre, a $100 voucher. Thank you very much, Bridget. Could we have Betty Davis, please? Betty Davis, played, of course, by Aileen Lewis. Aileen. Your name for it, You're sorting through them there a bit. Oh, I can't believe this. Phil Hunt. Phil Hunt. Very well named. Also donated by the Elvine Food Centre, a $100 voucher. Don't be shy, Phil. Congratulations. You're very welcome. Thanks for your help. Jane Fonda, beautifully played by Aileen Smith, and Pete. Take a ticket from the bucket. Debbie McCall. Debbie, congratulations. Goodness gracious me, the Alpine Food Centre has been very generous to us. Another $100 voucher. Debbie, congratulations and thank you. Now the little man behind the big cigar, Groucho Marx, played by Kieth Rutherford. Who have we got?
Bridget Hewitt.
Bridget Hewitt. Bridget, congratulations. You're going on the Southern Lakes helicopter, 10-minute scenic helicopter flight. Well done. The little man in the old bowler, Charlie Chaplin, played by Dennis Jenkins. Dennis, if you pull a ticket out of the bucket. And I know you can't tell us who it is. Paul van der Kar. Paul. Paul, Mount Cook Line, return trip for 2 to Milford Sound. Well done. Congratulations. Thanks for your help. Of course, also tonight, really helping make the show a great success has been Shirley Temple, brilliantly played by Meaghan Miller. Not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Lee, Constable Closely, followed by a man who's had a great deal of experience making these insect films, and as you noticed had a bad outbreak of fruit fly earlier in the night, Mr. Glen McDean. Shirley Temple, Meaghan Miller, come on, don't be shy. Detective Superintendent, Small Cross, David John. Our thanks also to Vicky Bowen, the postie, who we really needed. Mary the Milkmaid, alias Bev Fineman. The sound man, or some say unsound man, Kevin Lynch. Thanks, Kevin. The stage crew of Russell, Richard and Hamish, who've been of invaluable help. And also, last but by no means least, the makeup guy, Paul, and the two lovely, the hairdresser, Paul, and the two lovely ladies who were doing the makeup out there and have worked really hard. Finally. But he's dead. You mean they revived him? Goodness gracious me. Reuben Jane Gamble Potty has come back to life. ladies and gentlemen, thanks ever so much to you.
To Mr. Garrick Tremain, who held together. Step forward, crowd, step forward.